everyone. Welcome to HOA Fight Club. I'm Raylene Shafano. I'm going to discuss rogue boards today and how I've been dealing with quite a few rogue boards in the last few weeks. A board that is rogue has so much power, and I don't think that our legislators and our government understand how much power these boards have. I've seen rogue boards take a homeowner who they target because they don't like them, or this homeowner might have questioned them, and they start targeting that person. And a rogue board, or a board that isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, sometimes when they're called out, they really target that person. And in targeting them, they can hurt that person to the point where they lose their homes, they lose their businesses, they lose their complete identity. I think that we need to be able to understand that these boards are rogue and what to do when we deal with those boards. If a board has an opinion against a homeowner, they use the attorneys to intimidate, bully, harass those homeowners. They use them to make their lives very difficult. The board has the power to fine. So when, like in my case, the board would have a meeting and then they would institute a fine, implement a fine onto me for garbage, or the umbrella in my backyard, or smoking in my backyard. And all of these things are just to be done to make my life miserable. And what people don't understand is that when you get a fine, you have to request a hearing with the board. But that board is jury, judge, and executioner. So if it's a rogue board, they will just deny your rights in that hearing. They will make your life a living hell. And we have to show the legislators why these boards need oversight and governance, because without that oversight and government, we are allowing these people to be dictators. We would not allow our mayors to implement fines on us. Of course, we have a police force. That police force, if you do something wrong, if you get a speeding ticket, they give you a ticket, and then you go to a separate person that is the judge, and you have a due process, and you can ask for evidence and hearings and all of that stuff that comes along with that. But in an association, they don't offer that. They don't even, a lot of the times, they take advantage of the fact that the homeowners don't understand the governing documents. So when they give you a fine, they know that you probably don't understand that you can ask for a hearing. I think that a lot of people that are getting fined in communities need to start using the small claims courts, because that will give you an impartial tribunal. Small claims court, you can take anybody to small claims court, and you can take your association board to the small claims court for fines and fees. If you get a fine for smoking in your backyard, you can take that to the small claims court, and they offer free mediation. I know in Washington State, that mediation is actually done online. So you can actually be in a remote area. You don't have to go into the courts unless it goes to the final courts. I know that if we get this to the small claims court system, that a lot of it will be relieved in mediation, and that these boards won't be so eager to fine. But again, we wouldn't let our mayors give out fines. So we should legislate for good, positive due process and laws that work in these communities also. I think that the small claims court should be in the fine process. If boards are going to be allowed to implement fines, then they should have to follow the due process system and use the small claims court. And especially since that is done online, it won't take up people's time. And if we do this, it will also take the fine power, and these boards aren't going to just fine people frivolously, because they won't want to go to court every time they fine someone. So they're going to make sure that these fines are valid fines, and that they're not used to just bully and harass, intimidate people. This is how boards force people into foreclosure, and this is what they were doing in Washington State prior to the foreclosure laws. So they were forcing people into foreclosure by giving them a fine, adding unlimited attorney fees of $3,000 to $4,000 for a fine if it wasn't paid in 15 days. And then in 90 or 45 days, they would add a lien. And then in 90 days, they were foreclosing. So many lost their homes to fines and fees. Now, that's not legal anymore in Washington State, but that doesn't mean that people aren't still taking advantage of that. Boards will take advantage of whatever laws that you don't understand. So if you don't understand your governing documents and you don't understand the state laws, they will take advantage of that fact and use it to their favor. So make sure you understand your governing documents. Make sure you understand the bylaws and even the state law, because those laws are there to protect us And we have to use them. If you are being bullied, harassed, and intimidated, make a formal complaint. Send a certified letter itemizing what declaration and bylaws the board is violating, and send it to the association's property manager, attorney. Call them out. I know that a lot of the times the attorney general's office doesn't do anything, but if you make a complaint, that is a public record. And now they have a record of everybody that's making complaints. And those records at some point may make a difference because they are a public record, and we can use those as evidence when we fight for legislation of, look, how many people are making complaints. Road boards can ruin people's lives, and we need to contact our legislators and share our stories so that they understand what is happening in these communities. They understand that these boards are taking their power to a dictatorship, and they're not allowing people the due process that is needed. Boards will have so much power. In fact, I've had majority owners that have voted out a board, and that board is still in control because the attorney is acting as the police state. So these boards are, I mean, they don't follow their own laws, and they use the attorneys to deny the rights of even the majority when the majority shouldn't have to do anything but take a vote. And they have the action by consent in a lot of these communities where if 51% makes that decision, then it's supposed to happen, but they're not allowing that, which is because the attorneys don't want to be fired or terminated, and they use that power to keep themselves employed with these communities. So make sure you know the laws, make sure you understand your governing documents, and don't let a rogue board bully you and harass you. Make sure you use the small claims court system to call them out and to have a judicial review and an impartial tribunal listen to your case. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the next one.